You know the scenario? We've all got that friend. They call you. It's probably late on a Sunday night, and they are just buzzing with this big idea.
Oh, yeah, the world-changing idea.
Exactly. They've already got the whole thing mapped out in their head. They're ready to quit their job on Monday morning, already picturing the fancy office.
And by Wednesday, they're hitting you up, asking if you know any VCs.
Right. And then by Friday, the energy's just gone. They're completely frustrated, asking why the world isn't, lining up to hand them money for their genius plan.
And the reason is always the same. They fell in love with the end result, the success, the freedom, all of it. But they tried to completely leapfrog the actual work, the hard stuff.
That's it. They skipped the foundation. And that really is what our deep dive is all about today. We're trying to figure out what those minimum viable actions are.
The critical steps, the ones that most people actually try to avoid.
Yes, the things that actually build momentum and start that, that compound effect toward real success. These aren't just nice to haves. They're non-negotiable.
Okay, so to get that ball rolling, you have to start with the one thing that truly matters. And it's so simple that a lot of people just dismiss it.
What's that?
You have to make your first dollar.
Just one.
Just one single, verifiable monetary transaction. That $1 is, it's exponentially more valuable than a 1,000-page business plan full of projections.
I think that's such a key insight because it's not really about the money itself, is it? It's about what the act of earning it proves.
Exactly. It's a test.
It's a logistical litmus test. First, and this is the obvious part, it proves that some other human being is willing to trade their actual hard-earned money for your thing.
Which is huge, because if they won't, you don't have a business. You just have a hobby.
Right. But the deeper proof, I think, is that it shows you can complete the entire cycle.
Talk more about that.
Well, think about all the little mechanical things you have to figure out just for that one transaction. You have to, define the product, find a way to reach a customer, explain the value well enough to convince them.
And then actually process the payment and then deliver the thing you promised.
All of that. And that whole chain has to work.
That's the real psychological shift right there. Until that first sale happens, you're just an ideas person.
Yeah.
You're a visionary.
Yeah, you're in theory land.
Exactly. The second that transaction goes through, you are forced out of that abstract world and into the concrete one of being a market solver.
Yeah.
Your idea might be beautiful in your head, but it's just a hypothesis until you've cleared all those logistical hurdles.
So that single dollar, it doesn't just validate the idea, it validates the entire commercial system you've had to invent to make it happen.
100%. It makes it real.
Okay, so if making that first dollar is the proof of concept, then the process of getting it immediately shines a huge spotlight on the next core skill.
Which is?
Understanding that, basically. Right. Everything is marketing and sales.
A lot of people hate hearing that.
I know they do. But once you accept that the goal is to convince someone to give you money, the whole concept of sales just explodes beyond, a guy in a suit with a briefcase. It becomes a fundamental life skill.
It's everywhere once you start looking for it.
It really is. Think about your resume. That's not a history document. It's a marketing campaign.
Right. The product is you.
The product is you, and the goal is to get someone to buy 30 minutes of their time to interview you. And the interview itself, that's a sales meeting. You're selling your future value to that company.
Asking for a raise is a sales conversation. You're selling your proven value.
Even something like a dating profile, let's be honest, it's a marketing document. You're marketing yourself for a very specific outcome.
So this kind of gets to a really important question then. Why do so many incredibly capable people with great products or, amazing qualifications, why do they fail?
It's because they think that just deserving it should be enough.
Right. They think my product is the best or I'm the most qualified, and they expect the world to just automatically recognize that and reward them.
But it never works that way.
Never. Success really hinges on your ability to clearly and persuasively communicate your value in a way that connects with the person who has the thing you want, whether that's money or a job or an opportunity.
If you can't articulate why you matter to them, the job will always go to the person who can sell their value better, even if they're, slightly less qualified on paper.
It's the skill of translating your value into their language. That's what sales is.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense. You've gotten your first dollar. You've accepted that you always have to be selling your value. But now you hit the next big wall.
Inertia.
Inertia, because when you're building something new, there's no clarity. There's no boss telling you what to do next. There are no obvious metrics to track.
And that ambiguity is paralyzing for most people. They just get stuck. They're waiting for directions that are never going to come.
This is where that massive psychological cost of uncertainty comes in.
Right.
When you have a million choices, you just freeze. Decision fatigue.
Yeah, you wait for the right time or the perfect metric to appear because the alternative, which is creating your own structure out of total chaos, it just feels way too overwhelming.
So what's the solution? How do the successful people get past that?
They create their own benchmarks. They just invent them.
I don't wait for them.
No, they decide for themselves what progress looks like. They set their own deadlines, and this is the important part, they enforce their own accountability. They
Why?
build the structure themselves.
And the thing is, the standards don't even have to be perfect, do they? They just have to be specific enough to force you to move.
Exactly.
So for instance, if you're starting a newsletter, your commitment isn't, I'll write when I feel inspired. It's, I will publish twice a week for the next 3 months, even if only my mom reads it.
Yes. Or if you're building a new app, the standard is, I will get on the phone and talk to 50 potential customers in the next 30 days. These are self-imposed mandates. They're not suggestions.
And that's what's so necessary about the structure itself. The goal is just to enforce movement.
That's it. Because without that self-imposed rule, all of your good intentions, your desire to make progress, it just dissolves into endless preparation.
Research.
Endless research and optimization that never leads to anything. Having any specific standard is infinitely better than waiting around for the perfect one.
So once you force that movement with your own structure, you start to generate output. And that creates the conditions for the next big principle, which is that volume creates its own momentum.
I love this reframing of luck.
It's great, isn't it? It's not some random lightning strike. It's positioned as the direct, almost predictable result of just creating more chances for a good thing to happen.
It's basically just a numbers game. It's math. If you write one article, you have one lottery ticket for being discovered.
But if you write 100 articles,
It's not just 100 times better. You've created this geometric compounding effect. You've got more chances to rank and search, more entry points, more opportunities for people to find you and link to you. The odds on any single one might be low, but you've placed so many bets that a win becomes much more likely.
and that multiplier effect is so critical. Making more sales calls will result in more yes answers. Shipping more products increases the chance that one of them just happens to hit the market at the perfect time.
And then people call it an overnight success.
Right. They call it lucky, but it was actually engineered through just sheer output.
But volume does something even deeper than just increasing your odds. And this is where it moves beyond just being busy work.
What's that?
It is the absolute most essential engine for improvement. Consistency will always, always be perfectionism because the repetition you get from high volume just makes you fundamentally better at the craft.
You can't help but improve.
You can't. Your 10th sales call is going to be so much smoother and more confident than your first. You'll anticipate the objections.
Your 20th blog post will be clearer and more persuasive than your 5th.
Exactly. That constant high-volume repetition compounds your skill, not just your odds. It guarantees that every new attempt is better than the last one. That is how mastery is actually forged.
Okay, so if volume creates momentum by compounding your skills, then the final piece here is sort of the cheat code,
Yeah.
the acceleration factor.
The mentorship multiplier.
Yes, and this is all about strategically speeding up your progress by connecting with people who are already, way ahead of you on the path.
But the strategy here is everything, and most people get it completely wrong.
They really do, because it all hinges on what you don't do.
Hmm.
You absolutely cannot make it transactional. Don't send that cold email asking for a little advice. Don't ask for a coffee meeting just to pick their brain.
The second you do that, you flagged yourself as a taker. And successful, busy people have an extremely low tolerance for that because their time is their most valuable asset.
So what's the alternative?
You have to flip the entire dynamic. You have to focus on building up social capital first based on reciprocity.
You contribute first.
You contribute first consistently and without asking for anything in return. Find genuine ways to add real value to their world.
What does that look like practically?
It could be anything. Share their work with your audience if you have one. Send them a really specific, relevant article you found that you know they would actually appreciate. Make a smart introduction between two people in your network.
Or even just solving some small problem they mentioned offhand on Twitter or something.
Yes, little things like that. When you do that, when you consistently add value and become a source of benefit, those people in that higher tier, they they start to notice you.
You get on their radar in a positive
Yes.
way.
In a very positive way.
Mhm.
They start thinking of you when opportunities pop up. They start sharing those little nuggets of insight, that critical context that they would never offer to some random person
Right.
who's just trying to extract value.
So it moves the whole thing beyond that awful transactional networking mindset.
Exactly. It's not, I do this so I can get that.
Yeah.
It becomes genuine relationship building
Yeah.
based on mutual respect and value. You go from being a beggar waiting for scraps to being a valued peer. And that is what accelerates your growth faster than anything you could ever do on your own.
You know, what's really brilliant about laying out these 5 steps is seeing how they all lock together and reinforce each other. It's a true virtuous cycle.
It really
I mean,
is.
if you focus on making that first dollar, it immediately forces you to start thinking like a salesperson and a marketer.
Right.
And
And then when you create your own standards for output, that naturally generates the volume you need to actually get better at those skills.
And then all of that high-quality output you're creating, well, that becomes the valuable asset you can then use to contribute to the mentors ahead of you, which speeds up your learning curve even more.
That's the compounding effect in real time. The whole unified message here is that the single hardest part of any big project is just initiating motion.
Yeah.
It's overcoming that initial state of rest,
Getting off of zero.
getting off of zero. Once you are moving, every small win gives you compounding momentum for the next one. It makes each subsequent step just a little bit easier than the last.
So going back to that friend with the big Sunday night idea, it's not that they're wrong to have that vision or that energy. You need that.
You absolutely need the dream.
But dreams without this kind of consistent foundational action, they just stay dreams.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Success is found in consistently choosing to do the hard, unglamorous work that most people are actively trying to avoid. Making the uncomfortable sales call, defining your own next step when no one's telling you to, generating the volume when you don't feel like it, and adding value to others before you ask for anything.
So I guess the final question for everyone listening is this. What specific important task are you avoiding right now? The one you're waiting for more clarity on, or for the right time to start?
Because the answer to that question, the thing you choose to define and execute for yourself today, that is the precise point where your own momentum truly begins.